Merry Christmas, everyone. I'm Kolton Steele, and this is my sisters Cindy Steele and Lindsay Steele. Today, we're here to talk about the spoilers of Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens. Official spoiler warning. You have been warned. If you have not seen The Force Awakens yet, go watch it and come back to this video, because you've been warned. Alright, so let's go ahead and start off with the plot of this film, which I could not talk about in my spoiler-free review, which if you have not seen that yet, you can click that right here. So anyway, the first sentence in the opening crawl: Luke Skywalker has vanished. Where is he?
That's why we're watching the movie to find out.
We'll talk about him later. Okay, I guess we'll go ahead and talk about it right now. Luke Skywalker doesn't show up until the end of the movie. To the end of the movie.
It's pathetic.
Well, that's why we're watching the entire movie, to be able to see what happened to him. They wouldn't just pop him up at the beginning of the movie and just kind of not keep us in suspense. That's part of the Hollywood plot. Just keep us in suspense.
True, and plus, J.J. Abrams never said that Mark Hamill was going to be a big part of this film. He never said that Luke Skywalker is going to have a major role in this film. So I think that's more of us also was expecting him to be a major part of the film like Han Solo was. Speaking of which, like I mentioned in the spoiler-free review, Han Solo had a big part in this film. He wasn't just one of those characters just got a cameo. It's like, okay, hey, I'm here, what's up everyone, I was in the original trilogy, now I'm gone. That was very surprising, I really enjoyed that.
I did too.
Yeah.
I miss Han Solo. He's one of my favorite characters.
Yeah, I love how he's just like so hardcore, nothing scares him. So he was a good one to have like as one of the main characters. He was entertaining.
Yes, including Leia. Even though Leia did not have a big part in this film, we still got the sense that she was still Leia. Well, not Princess Leia anymore. She's now Commander Leia. So it was nice seeing her again, even though she didn't have a big part. But when her and Han had some screen time, you could really feel the connection between them. That they had history together. It was great seeing them on screen together once again.
Perfect couple. Always will be one of the most epic couples of all movie history.
Alright guys, let's go ahead and talk about some major spoilers here. First off, let's go ahead and talk about Kylo Ren, who's also known as Ben Solo.
Shocker. Han Solo and Leia's son. I mean, big shocker right there.
Didn't even see that coming. We would never thought that kind of plot point would be actually in the first film. You would think maybe that kind of plot point would be maybe in the second film, like they did with The Empire Strikes Back when Luke found out that Darth Vader was his father. Nope, they just told us right in the first film, like, hey, he's their son. Which, pretty cool, pretty cool. I did not expect them to actually spoil that in the first film.
I'm glad they did. Add an interesting plot twist to his character and show more in depth to Han Solo's character himself, because you see him as this very rough and tough kind of guy, but then it's like, oh, he has a soft spot in his heart because he has a son, and his son has turned to the dark side.
Which is part of the reason why Luke Skywalker is actually hiding, because it's explained earlier in the film that in the opening crawl, right? Is it an opening crawl, or is it later they explain that Luke was training Jedi, and we can only assume that Kylo Ren or Ben Solo was one of them, and then he turned, and now that's one of the reasons why Luke is in hiding, because maybe he's just really disappointed in himself that he allowed Ben to be turned so easily, because maybe he feels as how his father was turned, and he failed, and Obi-Wan failed his pupil. Maybe that's how he feels the same way.
I mean,
Yeah.
if you feel the same, if you're training Jedis, and all of a sudden when your only Jedi that you're training turns to the dark side, it feels like you failed as a teacher. And not only a teacher, but as an uncle, because that is his nephew. So he went to hiding feeling like a total failure and messed up and didn't want to mess anyone else's life up. Just a thought.
Question we will not know until later on into the next films. Looking forward to see how they actually continue with the whole reason why Luke is in hiding, because we don't really know 100% the reason why. Anyway, moving on. Later in the film, we get the biggest spoiler of the film. Han Solo dies by the hand of his own son.
Dum bum bum. Big plot twist, just like Luke, I am your father. I mean, epic.
Now, this is the part of the film that either Star Wars fans are either gonna like or absolutely hate. This is the one part of the film people are gonna either turn their heads away from Star Wars from now on, or keep going forward. Because a lot of people love Han Solo, including me. I love Han Solo, but the way they killed him off, I was completely fine with it. I'm gonna lie, I was completely fine with it. Sure, I'm sad to see Han Solo go, but the way they killed him off, it was a great way. If they did it any other way, I would have hated it. Be honest, I would have hated it. The way they killed him off was Han followed his son on a bridge, and he was trying to convince his son, to come back home with him. And Kylo Ren of Ben Solo was giving up quite a believable little argument about maybe he will come back with them. And they're like, help me, Dad. Like, I need help to do something I know I can't do. And what does he do? He stabs his son with his own lightsaber. Stabs his father with his own lightsaber.
Can I add something?
Go ahead, Ad.
Okay. I kind of agree with you that there wasn't really a better way for Han to die, but at the same time, the way they did it was kind of predictable because Han steps onto this long platform and
like they did in Empire Strikes Back.
Exactly, and the Ben is in the middle, and he gradually gets closer and closer and closer to his son until they're face to face, and then his son acts all nice and stuff, and you're like, he's about to die. It's gonna happen. So I wish it was a little bit a little less predictable, but he is right. He still died by the hand of his son, which was the best.
Which is another complaint a lot of people are gonna have with this film is this film is too much like A New Hope or Return of the Jedi or Empire Strikes Back, which I expected. I mean, this is the first film in the last 30 years that we actually see these characters on screen. In the last 30 years. Sure, it's been 10 years since we last saw a Star Wars movie, Revenge of the Sith, but it's been 30 years since the original trilogy, so Disney and Lucasfilms are really trying to bring back the magic and the feel of Star Wars to the audience, to actually get us believing in Star Wars again. And so they're, making things familiar, trying to, get us on board and say, okay, this feels like Star Wars, and try to play it safe. I knew they were going to play it safe with this movie, but then in 8 and 9, I know they're going to go their own way and add their own stuff. So I knew that was going to happen. Same thing happened in Jurassic World. I knew it was going to be pretty much the same thing as Jurassic Park, get us involved and make us believe this is the Jurassic Park world. And I knew they're going to go their own way in the next films. I knew it was going to be the same way with Star Wars. I knew that.
I actually liked it because A New Hope is one of my favorite movies. So it was nice to see some familiar scenes and compare it to Episode 7. And kind of like them destroying the Death Star in Episode 4, and now they're destroying the Mega
Star Killer Base.
The Star Killer Base, it's another Death Star, but just on a mega scale. But they have to destroy it pretty much the exact same way.
Which is funny because they actually make fun of that in the movie. It's pretty much when they show Star Killer Base, okay, so it's just another Death Star. How do we blow it up? So they're partially making fun of, okay, we know we're doing the same thing again, but on a bigger scale.
Yeah, but I really appreciated the little Easter eggs that you were familiar with in A New Hope, and you're like, oh gosh, that looks exactly like A New Hope, and now they pop it up in Episode 7. So it does make it a lot more familiar instead of just throwing an entirely new storyline. And I guarantee that Episode 8, they'll probably be making a lot of mega changes, and everything will be different and stuff, and kind of ease us more into, okay, here's a new plot line.
Hopefully they won't come up with another Star Killer Base, because that would just be, oh, come on, guys.
Come on, guys.
Come on, guys. We've seen this before. They're just going to blow it again. Let's don't do that.
Well, let's talk about Rey. And, come on. The girl, she has the Force. Come on.
Rey has the Force.
And you're always thinking, okay, is she the daughter of Luke? Maybe she's the daughter of some well-known Jedi that died a long time ago. She's on the same planet as Luke, and
not on the same planet. She's on Jakku.
But the same weather is
same kind of setting.
It's
Same kind of
the same sand.
Very familiar.
Things like that. It's very familiar. So you're thinking, okay, is she about the same family line as Luke? And how does she get her Force? What's her backstory? Because her family left her at a young age and they never returned. So I'm really excited to see what her storyline is in episode 8. Because that is going to be really cool. And how the movie ended in episode 7 just leads into episode 8.
Plus, one of my favorite parts of Rey is when she finds out she really can use the Force is she is strapped down into this chair on one of the First Order ships. And she's trying to use a mind trick on one of the stormtroopers and like, you will untie me.
Just like Obi-Wan Kenobi did back in A New Hope.
No, it takes like 3 tries until finally it takes effect and the stormtrooper's like, I will untie you. And then he does, and he leaves about to leave the room. She says, and you'll drop your weapon. And I'll drop my weapon. He just drops it. Hilarious moment. But cool Easter egg, the guy who actually played that stormtrooper was James Bond.
That is very cool.
Yep, if you guys know it, James Bond played that stormtrooper. So little cameo, pretty awesome right there.
Can we talk about the good stormtrooper?
Oh yes, let's talk about Finn.
Let's talk about Finn. Like I said in the spoiler-free review, he was a stormtrooper who saw something he didn't agree with, and he's like, I can't deal with this First Order anymore, so he leaves with Poe. He rescues Poe. Poe got captured at the beginning of the film. So that's a little bit of spoiler. Let's talk about that, how he got captured at the beginning there.
Which part are we talking about?
The opening, where Poe was talking with, I'm guessing this general or commander from the Resistance.
They're on another planet and
Jakku.
And then so the same planet that Rey is on, but it's just a different part of the planet. And they are basically part of the Alliance or the Rebellion.
Resistance.
Sorry, the Resistance. And so they are a dangerous group to be kept alive according to the
First Order.
The First Order. They've changed names so many times. So the First Order, and they have
First Order are an Empire wannabe.
Exactly, and they have one older guy who's like their commander who needs to be killed according to the First Order, and we don't really know everything about him. We just know that he has great power involved with the good guys. So we have to. I'm curious to see what his backstory is and how he was really involved with them and why he even wanted them to be killed. So all unanswered questions by the end of the episode 7, but it makes you want to watch the next episode because you want to know how all these ends tie together. But then again, in George Lucas style, they never will be fully coming together until the last episode, which is episode 9, which we're probably going to have to wait 3 to 4 years for. But I think true fans will be more than willing to wait and be equally excited to see how the series is going to end.
One thing I want to talk about that beginning opening scene is when that commander or captain, I don't know what he is, got captured by Kylo Ren. Poe is a little bit behind a rock or something, hiding, watching the whole show, and Kylo Ren kills that commander or captain, and Poe, what does he do? He immediately reacts and shoots his blaster at Kylo Ren. And something really cool happens. Kylo Ren uses the Force and stops that bullet in thin air. So it's just floating right there. And like, wow, we never saw the Force used like that before. It was really cool.
Yeah.
Now more about Kylo Ren here. Now something I could not spoil in the spoiler-free review is his character. Now, everyone, like I said in the spoiler-free review, everyone thought he was going to be a Vader 2.0. No, he is a Vader wannabe. He is a guy who looks up to Vader, I think actually worships Vader, and wants to be like him.
Well, that's his grandfather, so he wants to be like Vader because he sees his grandfather's doing many great things, and he wants to be like him.
I don't think Luke told him that Vader turned back to the light before he died. I don't think he knows that, because I can't really see why he'd be looking up so much to Vader if he knew his grandfather actually turned back to the light before he died.
True. Can I say something?
Go ahead.
Okay, so Ben, I felt like it was kind of a good thing that he had kind of an innocence about him because it showed that he wasn't really evil, but at the same time it was kind of frustrating because it kind of looked like they got the wrong guy in my opinion, because I feel like they should have had someone who was looks a little bit more evil, but he kind of looked a little bit like
A little more menacing.
yeah, a little bit more like baby-faced and just like not guilty enough. So
I think that's why he wears the mask, because he wears the mask to look more menacing. If he goes around with his face open, I think everyone really couldn't take him seriously. Like, I'm not gonna follow that guy. He looks way too innocent. He doesn't have a scar on his face. He has no scar. So I think that's why he wears a mask, voice box like Vader did. Plus, I think he does wear that to be more like Vader because he wants to be Vader.
Right, yeah.
Plus, like you know in the original trilogy, when Vader gets upset, he takes it out on other people. He force chokes them. When Ben gets upset, it's the best thing ever. He takes out his lightsaber. Yes, temper tantrum. He takes out his lightsaber and just starts whacking at computers, destroying stuff. I'm like, heck yeah, man, that's what I would do.
And it kind of shows how young he really is, because once you look at his face, you can tell this dude is like 20, 21.
Yeah.
He's very young. He really doesn't have the full passion and power for the dark side like Vader does, and he doesn't look menacing. So he treats everything like it's unfair and life's unfair, and that's why he has little temper tantrums where instead of choking people to death, he just slashes things.
Which comes to one of the most hilarious parts in the film is where he's having one of his temper tantrums, and we're filmed to outside that room where he's having his temper tantrum, and we see two stormtroopers walk forward, and then they hear him in the other room start slashing stuff, and they look at each other and just turn around and walk the other way, which is just, no word was said. It was just hilarious the way that was done.
Yeah, that was funny. It's like, well, this is the usual. He's throwing a tent.
So you want to talk about what happens toward the end of the movie with Rey and the Millennium Falcon?
We'll talk about that a little bit later, but speaking of Millennium Falcon, we'll go ahead and talk about the Millennium Falcon here real quickly. The way it was introduced was just the best thing. Rey and Finn were running away from the First Order on Jakku, and Rey's like, okay, we'll take this ship to get out of here.
It gets blown up.
Yeah, it's funny, because Finn's like, why do we take that ship? And she's like, no, that's a piece of junk. And so anyway, like you said, that ship blows up, and she's like, okay, we'll take that one. The camera pans over, and it's the Millennium Falcon. Everyone in the theaters are cheering, because that was just the best introduction ever for it.
It's always been known as a heap of junk.
Exactly, the heap of junk in the galaxy. The best heap of junk in the galaxy. Now let's go ahead here and talk about Captain Phasma real quickly here. We knew absolutely nothing about her at all, really. Nothing really. So we all thought, oh my gosh, this is going to be a commander, a strong female commander role here. She's not that much in the film. I wish we had more screen time with her to find out more about her.
Maybe she'll pop up more into episode 8. They didn't kill her,
Yeah,
so she
right.
probably will pop up into episode 8 and have a bigger role in it.
Which comes in one of my complaints with the film, where it's the last scene we see her is Finn, Han, and Chewie capture her, and they take her into a control room and tell her, lower the shields. And she does it. She doesn't really hesitate. In fact, the one thing I don't really agree with was, while she's lowering the shields, Finn turns away from her and goes talk to Han, not even looking at her, and then we pan back to Phasma, and the screen she's working on turns red, and you're like, oh snap, she just alerted the whole base. But nope, but then we see the shields being lowered, and I'm like, really?
Yeah.
No, she was really a captain in the military. She would have not done that.
Yeah.
That's one thing I just really bothered me about that.
Yeah, I thought like they just assumed that she was gonna do everything they wanted, and they didn't watch her carefully enough, and it was like, really? That's stupid.
Maybe just a poor plot creation on their part. Maybe they just didn't really have a good idea what to do with that scene. But as I said, I'm sure a lot of questions will be answered by episode 8.
Yeah. This is not the end.
Now let's go ahead and talk about one of the best things in the film, the lightsaber battle.
It was epic.
This takes place right after the Han Solo death scene, and pretty much, for the Han Solo death scene, by the way, forgot to mention, Chewie went insane after that. Like, come on, he just saw his best friend murdered right in front of him, so he tries to shoot Ben, which is pretty cool, and starts just going nuts and everything. But anyway, the lightsaber battle takes place right after the death scene. And of course, everyone is a little bit shocked now. They're trying to get away from Kylo now because they're like, shoot, this guy is just nuts. So they're trying to get away from him, and Kylo, of course, follows them, and that leads into our first battle.
Right, and then Finn and him tried to have a battle, and of course, Finn's not a fighter with a lightsaber. He's a blaster. And then, of course, the epic moment when Rey picks up the lightsaber, and she doesn't know how to use it. She's never been trained, but yet she starts swinging it like a pro, and actually
How she pick up the lightsaber, though? That's the thing, though.
With the Force.
With the Force. The lightsaber is in the snow because he just knocked Finn right across the field, right into a tree, and he's out. And this lightsaber is just in the snow, and Kylo is just gonna use the Force to pick up the lightsaber. Of course, it doesn't move. It's like, well, come on. And suddenly the lightsaber just comes right out of the snow, flies right by him, and Rey catches it. I'm like, oh snap.
Yeah, that was cool.
Now let's go ahead and talk about the major thing here that I was not really agreeing with. Throughout the film, BB-8, which I talked about in the spoiler-free review, has a piece of the map to Luke Skywalker. And it's only half of a map, so no one really knows what the other half is. And when R2-D2 comes up and BB-8 finds him, 3PO says it's highly likely that R2 will have the other piece of the map for Master Luke. What happens towards the end of the film? R2 has the other piece of the map, and he just wakes up just like that, ready to help out. I'm like, hey, I can help. I'm like, I don't buy that. I didn't buy that.
Yeah, that was a little bit, predictable.
Yeah, it was predictable, but at the same time, it really wasn't that big of a deal. For me, I really didn't care. I'm just kind of like, okay, finally we get to see where Luke is located.
And R2's been shut down this whole time. Ever since Luke left, R2 has been shut down this whole time. And now he just woke up suddenly. Now, the only thing I would believe about this thing, if Luke has some kind of control over R2 when he shut him down, like, okay, this is the moment I want you to wake up. He kind of knew it was the right time, so Luke activated him through the Force or something like that. That's something I would believe, but just the way they presented it, no, I would not. But let's go ahead and talk about the ending here. Rey goes find Luke, and last shot is Rey hands the lightsaber over to Luke. And Luke looks pretty good right now. This looks like Ben almost, because he's like pretty much the same age as Ben.
Luke is not the same age as Ben. Luke is much, much older. He
Luke
looks
looks
about as
young.
old as Han Solo and all that, except he has a beard. We're all used to seeing Luke with he's clean shaven.
But like, like in New Hope when they found Ben. Ben was beard, all that stuff. Older Ben, not younger Ben.
Yeah.
As in like Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah, like Ben Kenobi.
Ben Kenobi, yes, he looks just like Ben Kenobi.
Now, one more thing I wanted to talk about before we leave here is the CGI characters, or motion capture characters. We got Maz and we got Smoke. Smoke is the Supreme Leader Smoke. We know nothing about him other than he is the new commander on the dark side. Not the Emperor. Doesn't call himself the Emperor, but we know nothing about him. Pretty much, Kylo and other commander on the First Order, pretty much, they answer to him. So, again, we know nothing about him. I'm looking forward to see what we have about him and more about him in the upcoming movies and see if he actually is as evil as the Emperor was or not.
Yeah.
And lastly, Maz, the Yoda-like character in this cantina scene where she's talking to Rey about the Force and Luke Skywalker and that the Force is calling her. She did alright.
Yeah.
I thought that character was okay. A lot of people are looking little of it. upset that she looked a little bit too CGI and she would fit more in the prequels than in this movie, but I think she did alright.
Yeah, I think
the
so.
character.
Yeah, she was nice, like steadiness and like wisdom. So she was good.
Overall, J.J. Abrams did a fantastic job of the film. The visual effects were amazing. So, yeah, guys, I think that's it for this spoiler review, guys. Thank you all for watching so much. This was our thoughts of the film. Go see it. Of course, I'm sure you guys have already seen it if you are watching this video, but go see it again. I'm about to go see it again. I'm excited. So anyway, guys, that's all for watching. Thank you all so much for joining us. And of course, as always, bringing you guys into the world of entertainment. I'm Kolton Still. That's my sister Lindsay and Cindy. If you like this video, be sure to smack that like button. Be sure to follow me on Twitch, Twitter, all the good shebang. All my links are in the description below. And of course, as always, if you want to see more, click right here to see more. And I'll holler at you guys next time.